My name is Ralph Dowdell, D-O-W-D-E-L-L. I am the primary historian for Bolton Mansion, Friends of Bolton Mansion, the historic group that has been restoring and sponsoring things at this site. Bolton Mansion is the second home of Phineas Pemberton, who came to the North American region in 1682, along with the rest of the flotilla with William Penn, the Quakers seeking refuge from the persecution in England. This property was first purchased by a Ralph Smith who came over on the Welcome with William Penn, and he never actually built on it himself, but it remained a 200-acre parcel of dense forest during his lifetime. He passed it on to a woman named Priscilla Rowland. When he died, she found she was not able to pass it on to relatives in her will due to conditions applied by Ralph Smith's will. And so she ended up selling it along with her husband to the Cook family, a husband and wife team. He fell ill quickly and in 1699 died. Phineas Pemberton, at that point being the recorder of all wills, deeds, and other records in Bucks County, knew this property was exchanging hands again, and so he purchased it in 1699. He built a manor house a few steps away from this particular manor house, and his wife was overseeing that while he was away working with William Penn. He passed away in 1702 due to a long lingering illness, and his son Israel Pemberton inherited this property plus a couple of other properties around the region. Israel Pemberton maintained the property from afar because his business was in Philadelphia. He gave this property to his middle son, James Pemberton. But during a brief period during the Revolutionary War, this house was occupied by the British and badly damaged by them in the 1777 to 1778 period. It took a few years for them to reconstruct from that damage and get back to living here on a off and on basis as a getaway from the stinkiness that can be Philadelphia, especially in the summertime. When James Pemberton passed away in 1809, the property was actually given to a family of his already deceased daughter, Rachel Park. In an undeciphered twist, it ended up in the hands of Anthony Morris and his children by 1810. Phineas Pemberton Morris had gotten his law license and was practicing law in Philadelphia, and eventually in 1876 built the Victorian addition on the front of the mansion as his law library and additional bedchambers upstairs. Effingham Buckley Morris was a fairly well-off person with connections to Pittsburgh Steel, Pennsylvania Railroad, both the Pennsylvania Hospital and Pennsylvania University of Pennsylvania, and Girard Bank. When he received the property, he did a major reconfiguration of the front of the mansion, encasing all the timber frame structures with stone purchased from a house in Morrisville. And that became the edifice that we see today as Bolton Mansion. And when he passed away, his family gave the entire property over to the University of Pennsylvania for their first field school of veterinary medicine. University of Pennsylvania used it for about 10 years until a straw purchaser offered them quite a lot of money, and they sold the property to him and purchased more property down in Chester County. His announcement that he was then going to bulldoze Bolton Mansion did not land well with the neighbors. They objected, knowing this place had a history, not knowing what it was, but it was important. He ended up giving the property as a last resort to Bristol Township for their first one-location township offices. In 1965, they had finished the construction of their own township offices elsewhere, and they left the building pretty much unattended and unprotected. The Friends group started up to try to preserve it, and it took about 10 years. And in 1976, they finally did get the purchase of the property. But by then it had suffered greatly at the hands of vandals and scavengers. We have been in the process of restoration ever since. It has been greatly restored on the outside. We are still working on the inside, and we'd love to have you come by and visit. Our goal is to have it fully restored and refurnished to be able to have it open on a regular basis to the public. On our website, you can tap on the link to contribute or inquire if you have something special you'd like to offer. The connection that we have between Ben Franklin and this property is through James Pemberton, the third family owner of the property, grandson of Phineas Pemberton. James Pemberton, a Quaker, was very strongly influenced by early abolitionist writings and tendencies of the Quaker faith in North America. And in 1792, he found and republished a letter to all Quakers in North America, admonishing them for entertaining the practice of enslaving other humans, it violating the first tenet of first do unto others as you would do unto yourself. About the same time, he had been a charter member of the American Abolitionist Society based in Philadelphia. And Ben Franklin, at that initial meeting, became the president of the American Abolitionist Society. It wasn't just James, but it was also James's older brother Israel and his younger brother John, that were also charter members of the American Abolitionist Society. When Benjamin Franklin passed away in 1795, James Pemberton was elected the president and remained so until his death in 1809. When Phineas Pemberton purchased this property, the previous owners called it Little Money Hill, which went through 3 owners. When Phineas purchased it, he changed the name to Pemberton. And at that point, it was 2 contiguous farms that he named Pemberton. When Phineas passed away in 1702, his son Israel, who inherited all this land, both farms included, he renamed the upper 200-acre parcel as Bolton in honor of the town in which Phineas was born, Bolton, England. He named the other farm, the lower one that was only 100 acres, Wigan, in honor of the town in which his mother was born, Wigan, England.
So with Bolton Mansion, I wasn't into the paranormal in the wee beginning. My name is David Newman, Davidnewman. They used to actually have a regular haunted house here when I was younger in the 70s. My interaction with this probably started about around 2008, but that's when I started hearing about the stories here. We started investigating probably about 2005. Just kind of going out to public places, doing the tours. We did go also to some of the public events, but we didn't start on our own until 2008. Our name of our group is Fairless Hills Paranormal. I mean, really, the first thing about Bolton Mansion you hear about is the stories from the people seeing the little girl in the window, and that dates back. Predating back before I was ever involved here at Bolton Mansion. People would tell me during some of the tours that I was doing that they would actually see a girl looking out the window. Some of the older people that have lived in the neighborhood just walking past. So they tell me that they see a girl looking out the window. My first experience with the little girl was in shadow form. Looking down from the furthest room straight through the hallway. I've seen a lot of shadow play, something lower to the ground. We assumed at that point it would be a child. And because she was the most talked about spirit, that's when we just made the assumption. So we worked on trying to get a name. Psychic mediums, help with psychic mediums, going in there to see what they got as far as names, and we came up with Mary. And she just seems like to be the one that shows herself, even if it's during the day or large groups are in here. That's most of the sightings that I get from people telling me that they saw some shadow figure that was smaller, and we just make the assumption it's the girl. For the thermal imaging camera, we had it upstairs on the third floor, all facing the third floor landing. I was up there standing in the doorway. I started seeing a lot of shadow play going along the wall to the left. The shadow was somewhere around 3 foot high. I watched it for almost 20 minutes as they were shooting behind me with the thermal. I kneeled down to the floor level to get a little lower with the shadow, and I started coughing. I must have kicked up dust. I'm not sure. So I told them I'm going to go downstairs, to get something to drink, just to keep filming because of the shadow. My wife was holding a camera with a screen, and she had seen something pop in and pop out of the screen. She turned to one of my group members, Eric, who was running the thermal, asked if he saw that. He said no, but he would timestamp it. So the video, the picture is actually just a little clip of the video. I guess the video itself, which I've never actually viewed the video, but they tell me it comes into the screen and comes out of the screen. And when you look at where my thermal spot on the doorway versus where the actual head came out from the side, it's probably about a 3 foot high individual. I do believe that was Mary. So a lot of the focus is around the little girl, but there's also a lot of other spirits here. The name Abigail also comes in for a lot of people that use like for EMFs and different things, different equipment. Abigail has come up. Abigail actually is in the family line. It's somebody that lived here, wife of one of the people that lived here. I don't really know much about her. I'd never got Abigail. This is something that other people have given to me. Yes, we were doing a tour geared for children, for young adults. I never really tell them anything because I don't want to scare them. They're called family friendly tours. We do it with the lights on. The girl came up to me later to tell me that she saw a figure in a doorway. So I wanted her to tell me where exactly. Turned out to be the bake oven doorway. We do have a spirit in there that never comes out of that doorway. But is either seen in the doorway or seen in the back corner of the bake oven. And I never said anything to her about it because, like I said, I didn't want to scare any of the smaller kids because it's from stroller all the way up to adult. So, it's supposed to be fun just so they can come out. If they watch the shows, they can see the equipment, they can see how it works. And that's really what it's based on. But she was excited to see it. She wasn't scared. We do have a ghost cat. I thought I might have saw it. I've been told that people have felt it rub against their legs. For me, I think it was just that I think I saw it because there was something on the floor level. One time we were walking, I had the recorder in my hand and we were actually going upstairs. And while we didn't hear it then, we played back the audio and we were just talking amongst each other going up the steps. And we got an EVP, a full sentence that said, and very clearly, Miss Shantae, meet me in the kitchen for breakfast, which we thought was kind of strange because obviously we weren't talking about food or breakfast or anything like that. But it was completely clear. It was a pretty cool EVP. Back in the 70s, there was a psych professor that brought his students here. The building was in disarray at the point. There was still a lot of vandalism, but he brought them here to view them, to see how they would react in the so-called haunted house. They weren't here for the ghost. They wanted. He had taken a picture of the stairwell, and the picture of the stairwell that I haven't been able to find this picture, and I actually tried to research the professor, and I think he has passed away. It was a picture of a man and a woman standing on the steps. You could clearly see the yellow line down the leg, so it would be like a soldier, and a woman in a white dress. And although the story changes from time to time on where it actually happened, we were told that 2 suicides did happen here. One for a soldier who he left to go fight in the Civil War. And of course, being Quakers, they didn't believe in that, that he was shunned, and that he hung himself because of that. And then she was in love with him, and she hung herself because of that on the in the stairs. Even as recent as 2016, when we had contractors doing the roof, they had it wide open in the same spot that we caught the thermal imaging of the girl. He saw 2 children sitting on the landing and a woman in a white dress running quickly between the doorways and from room to room. And it's the white dress. The children, he didn't say they were floating. He didn't say they were transparent. He said he saw it and he wanted to know about the people that lived here, and nobody lived here. So, and that was during some renovations. I think the strongest presence is definitely Mary, the little girl. Like I said earlier, that she's the one that doesn't seem scared to come out when we have large groups here. During the day, at nighttime, it really doesn't matter. Her sightings from different people, and then interactions with people that are psychic or sensitive, they actually say they saw her and have conversations with her. So in my opinion, it's her. Now, other people have experienced other spirits here, but she's most seen for me, and most people talk about. There's a lot of history here for the area. We never want to forget that. We always feel that the history is part of the paranormal. Without it, we wouldn't have one or the other. So I always like to mention, just how great this building is and the significance it plays in this area. And I think that's why it's still standing today, and is protected. And I always like to make sure that even though when we're talking 100% paranormal, I like to bring up the fact that, there's a lot of great history too here. If a group wants to come out and rent the building for a night to do an investigation, they can visit the website. On the website, there's an email for the events. They'll funnel that through them first because they have the PayPal. So the payment portion goes through there. So then they'll funnel it to me, where I'll reach out to them and iron out the details of when, and then answer any questions they might have. I believe that for Jason and JV tonight, when they're here, I would go after, focus more on the little girl. She'll be the better option of making contact with somebody. To certain rooms, and during the tour that I gave, just to focus on some of the stuff that I said that happens in there, and try to duplicate to see if they can get the same reaction from whatever they're using, equipment or whatever.
Just come visit.